You're listening to the PRO Media Network, the next level in entertainment.
Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, telling you everything you need to know about the Saints, Falcons, and a whole lot more.
Welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, and we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports family. Once again, I'm Big Q. And via Skype, we have other teammate, DC. How you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Took advantage of that top of time.
There you go. Anytime you can take advantage of a deal like that, I guess it's a win-win. This is December the 18th, 2017, podcast 122. And thanks for all the fans out there for all their support. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about the Jets and the Saints. We're going to recap the Saints versus the Jets with stats, facts, and breakdown of the game from yours truly. Interviews from Sean Payton, Mark Ingram, Alvin Kamara, Mike Thomas, and Cam Jordan, all the stars of the Jets game. We'll also have our studs and duds section. Of course, you know who's going to be in that one. Our injury report brought to us by DC, who'll update injuries to Larry Warford and other Saints that went down in this Jet game. Hopefully, we can get some of these guys ready for the upcoming match in the crucial matchup against the Atlanta Falcons due to come up on the 24th. And also, speaking of that game, we'll also preview and break down the rematch for the NFC South title, the Saints and the Falcons. And we'll also have some other news as well. So let's delve right on into it, DC. Actually, before we jump right into it, I just want to let the fans know that next week, starting Monday of next week at 4 Central via YouTube, of course, you have to locate our social media YouTube page for the Sports Coma, which is the PRO Media Network on YouTube. Subscribe to it or whatnot, but join us starting Monday of next week at 4 o'clock for 5 straight days. We'll be beta testing our daily show, Sports Coma Daily, 1 hour show talking about football, basketball, Saints and Pelican talk as well. Beta testing a 1 week straight 5-day 1 hour show every day at 4 o'clock via YouTube. So you're more than welcome to join us. It'll be interactive where you could chime in, ask us questions, comments, or, whatever. You can join us on YouTube just to put that out there. Also, that the podcast is also sponsored by The Posh Lifestyle. ThePoshLifestyle.com, life spelled with a Y, for all your organic and supplement needs, for all your music needs, for all your water filter needs, for all your heirloom seeds needs, for all of your protective needs, for everything. And one of the items that the Posh Lifestyle is really proud of is its protective items that protect nurses or college students or what have you. Stun guns that look like cell phones, stun guns, period, all this kind of stuff, mace sprays, and protectory devices for people out there, for those crazies that, to protect yourself, that extra layer of security. They have a lot of great stuff. It's Christmas time. Do all of your Christmas shopping at the Posh Lifestyle. As the motto goes, get your mind and body right with the Posh Lifestyle. And of course, as always, by putting the Sports Coma in the coupon section during checkout, you get 10% off. So take that as a little gift from us. Now let's get into the game. DC, we seen a pretty lively game. Of course, a lot of people believe that the Jets was going to come in here and just lay down to the Saints. That was far from the truth. The Jets actually combated with the Saints, but the Saints also helped them out by turning the ball over. Curious movements throughout the game that I kind of was crazy. The first drive, Sean Payton didn't challenge the sideline play when the referee ruled Mark Ingram out. Upon the replay, it showed that he was actually in. That would have kind of kept the game spaced out, but he failed to throw the flag. And from life of me, I understand that. If it was in the second half, I would have kind of hold that. But those first half timeouts, you don't have to be as conservative with them as you would do in the second half. Comment on that before we talk stats, my friend.
Sean Payton stated he couldn't throw the flag because the officials blew the play dead. And
So
once
no
the play is
challenging.
blown dead, you can't challenge it. So
Okay, I got that.
it's kind of crazy, man. And you had two other similar situations with Michael Thomas like that, man. I mean, I'm gonna start eating. I'm gonna go buy me some zebra cakes and eat them, bro, because they sure be trying to eat us alive. So maybe that's the answer.
Perhaps, my friend. Now, this is a couple of news giblets, as we like to say on the Sports Coma. With the win, of course, DC doesn't like the giblets. He prefers something else.
I pick all them giblets out of my gumbo, man. I don't eat giblets.
With the win, the New Orleans Saints improved to 10-4, clinching its first double-digit win season since 2013. The franchise 11th overall, and they're 6th under Sean Payton. The next take is, of course, we'll take on the Falcons. On Saturday the 24th, the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. That will be a noon game. That's going to be an excellent game. The Saints win improved their record to 7-6 against the Jets, making them the 8th team to have a winning record. It also gave the Saints a 3-1 record and closing out their 2017 interconference slate with the AFC East. Sunday's win also improved Peyton's record against the Jets to 2-1. The Saints win improved the Saints' record in the Superdome in 2017 to 6-1. How about that? Which gave the Saints 6 wins at home for the first time since the 2013 season when they went 8-0. It also gave them a 6-game home winning streak, which is tied for the 3rd longest winning streak in franchise history. Okay, that's just a few little nuggets that we're going to issue out. Of course, there are individual statistical notches as well with Drew Brees, as he appeared in 274 career games, putting him in the sole possession of 6th place in NFL record books. And I think he bypassed Fran Tarkenton or something like that. So, I mean, also Mark Ingram, he led the team with rushes. He had 12 carries for 74 yards. He had 5 catches for 77 yards. He recorded the longest reception of the day with 54-yard catch, 74 yards. He joined Deuce McAllister with his 74 yards rushing. He joined Deuce McAllister back in 2002 and 2004, and Ricky Jackson back in 2000 to 2001 as the 3rd Saint to have consecutive 1,000-yard rushing season. He has 11 rushing touchdowns this year, setting a career high. Prior to that, it was 9. With 11 touchdowns, that exceeds his prior career best of 10 in 2016. And Ingram has 1,420 total yards from scrimmage this year, setting a career high, surpassing his former total of 1,362 last year. He joins Dalton Hilliard, Deuce McAllister, George Rogers, and Chuck Monsey as the 5th Saint with 10 rushing touchdowns in a season. We also got some other stuff on Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas, but we'll kind of sprinkle that out throughout the podcast. Let's look at some of these statistics first, DC. 400.
Also, I want to give a shout out because before I forget. Shout out to Reggie Bush, man. Reggie Bush stated that he's gonna retire and he wants to retire as Saint. So, give that guy some noteworthy praise, man. Who won a championship here and was a big part of the Saints turning it all around and becoming a winning franchise.
Absolutely, Reggie Bush electrified the fan base, jumping over people, and he just was outstanding. And to
paved
have
the way for Alvin Kamara, right?
Yeah, it does. And it kind of, when the Saints have a player of that athletic magnitude, they can do wonders. And it's making Sean Payton look like a genius. Reggie Bush make Payton look like a genius. Now Alvin Kamara is doing the same thing. Definitely.
He was the second coming of, I guess, Marshall Faulk in the way that you would use a running back, which a lot of people want to do. And even when the Saints started doing it in 2006, now it's you absolutely positively have to have one guy like that on your team at least.
At least one, right. Okay, looking at some of the statistics before, we're going to get team statistics before we go into the box, the individual statistics. And then in a little bit, we're going to play Coach Sean Payton, a few minutes of his interview after the game. But the statistics, the Saints had 64 total plays, the Jets 68. They had 416 total yards for the game. Both teams had a total of 13 drives. Saints averaged 6.5 yards per play against the Jets, 285 yards passing. On the day rushing, the Saints had 131 rushing yards off of 28 attempts, which is almost 5 yards a carry. The Saints were 3-5 in the red zone. They had 8 penalties for 92 yards. Now, this is back-to-back games since that horrible officiated game against the Falcons that the Saints have started to accrue a lot of penalties. Now, of course, we have a lot of our conspiratory family out there will say that just because Sean Payton has been crucial of the NFL officiating, that they're retaliating. It has to be some credence to that because of the fact that we wasn't penalized like this in these prior matchups. But after the affair with Atlanta, you have that high penalty game, and then you come back with this high penalty game, 8 penalties for 92 yards. Which the Saints did lose 2 fumbles thanks to one of my duds that I'm gonna tell you about in a little bit. But
man, you stole it from me.
I had to say it before you got it because I know you was already there. But before we go, let's get into a DC quick thought on these team statistics dealing with New Orleans in the matchup. They had 3 turnovers versus 2 by the Jets. Lattimore got another interception on the day. What's your thinking on these statistics before we turn it over to Sean Payton's?
I think, a lot of it in the end, numbers were a little padded, like those rushing stats. It just amazed me how we got all to our season totals, which lets me know that the Saints pretty much had control of this game the majority of the time, even though watching it as a viewer, it may have looked different because they basically reached all their totals, and we won the game commandingly after turning the ball over 3 times. So, the score, I guess, would indicate kind of correctly. It looked a lot closer the whole game, but I think they were in full command of this game the whole game. And the statistics state that with the 3 turnovers that we had, but we still found a way to force 2 of our own and basically did what we always do every week, put up about 290 yards, ran the ball for about 130.
Okay, here go Coach Payton. He's going to give you his little take on what happened during the game as well. Here's Coach Payton.
First off, look, it was good to get the win. I didn't feel like it was one of our better games. Nonetheless, we were able to do what we had to do to win a game. So, any questions? I thought as the game went on, we played pretty well. Early on, one drive bothered me. But overall, I thought we did a good job. We got to eliminate the penalties. It shows up every week, same guys. Every week, same guys.
How do you work on it?
You work on it in practice. That's what you do at practice. So we got to do a better job coaching that.
That stretch on offense in the second half, is that more execution on your end, or are they doing something?
Listen, I think probably a combination of both, but we're going to put the film on and, we'll be disappointed. MEs, penalties. I thought it was sloppy.
Can you have gratification if you win despite
Yeah. I'm trying to. Well, no, listen, it is what it is, though. We got to improve.
It seemed to really take away some of the screen game. You guys were able to transition and really focus on getting it to Mike Thomas. At what point did you realize?
I don't agree with that, but go ahead and finish. Are you making a statement or asking a question?
As far as Mike Thomas,
The first play of the game, we threw him the ball. I think he has to be. Look, he got doubled on a few plays. We hit a big screen to Mark that I think scores a touchdown, but they call his foot out of bounds. But I think that there's some snaps where they lean the coverage one way and take something away like that. Now when I call a 3rd and 10 wide receiver screen and it gets tackled, they're taking it away, but I'm being smart and playing the field position. So, but listen, it's good defense. We said that going in. These guys, it's good front.
Sean
Safeties
Payton,
are young,
we'll
but
finish
good
up
football.
on his interview on the other side of the break. We'll also we'll give you some more stats and breakdown on the Saints win 31-19 over the New York Jets as they prepare to face the Falcons. We got more Saints talk on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. Stay with us. What's up, sports world? This Big Q from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. Talking to you about the website, theposhlifestyle.com. That's right, theposhlifestyle.com. A great website where you can get great products at great prices. They sell organic herbs, vitamins, supplements, water filters for your home, EMF and cell phone radiation protection, healing magnetics and healing crystals, personal protection devices like cell phones, stun guns, and mace sprays, organic deodorants, shampoos, soaps, toothpaste, and more. They also sell 10A grade Brazilian hair. 10A music is available now. All kind of the latest downloadable mixtapes. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to theposhlifestyle.com. That's the Posh Lifestyle, life spelled with a Y, LYFE style.com. Put in the Sports Coma for the 10% discount on your purchase. It's a win-win. So get your mind and body right with the Posh Lifestyle.
Get all the latest news and updates from your New Orleans Pelicans at the Pelicans Eye View, the new and official Pelicans Daily Journal, covering everything Pelicans.
Attention, everyone.
Get breakdown on games, free agent signings and potential moves, unbiased opinions and straight up facts with statistical analysis from G Balance. Go to www.thesportsdaily.com/Pelicans-I-View.
Wow, what a huge honor it is to be named NBA 2K18 Legend Edition cover athlete. I really wouldn't be here without the guidance, love, and support of my mom and dad. Also, I'd like to thank my coaches, both college and professional. But most of all, I'd like to thank Kobe Bryant. He was the NBA 2K Legend cover athlete first. He's so awesome and handsome and has really nice natural teeth. Wait, what? I'll be looking at his teeth. This ain't over, Kobe. Payback's gonna be fun.
Let me tell you about a news site that carries the news that you would want to know. News that's not the same as the rest of lamestream media, but a site that lets you know about the most important news on health, economics, tech, entertainment, science, food, sports, world news, positive living, paradigm shift, and a lot more. Go to theposhreportonline.co. That's right, theposhreportonline.co. Learn more. And remember, challenge everything.
Follow the Sports Coma on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
To the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Welcome back to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. We're talking the Saints 31-19 win over the New York Jets, the scrapping New York Jets, who they are now debating whether or not to fire head coach Bowles, who's been there for the last 3 years, so they'll be interested in that. Going back to some Saints news, I know that they got to get more time. Never got a quarterback. Bowles should stay around. I think they should keep it. Running back Alvin Kamara. A few more little snacks for the Saints enthusiasts. Rookie Alvin Kamara. He had 12 carries of 40. Oh, yeah, well, you know how it go, bro. You know, people eat snacks and they listen to the Sports Coma. I know how it go. But he had 12 carries for 44 yards. Also caught 6 passes for 45 yards. He carried the ball for 44 yards and caught 6 passes for 45 yards and a score. Kamara and Ingram now have at least 1,200 scrimmage yards and 10 scrimmage touchdowns this season. Now, they're becoming the third pair of running back teammates to reach those marks in a single season since Ickey Woods and James Brooks of the Cincinnati Bengals, 1988. Now, that was a champion. That team went to the Super Bowl. That went to the Super Bowl, just to put that on your mind. Okay, now let's give you a little something on Mike Thomas before we get back to Sean Payton's interview. DC, and we're going to talk about who Payton was kind of singling out, where you keep getting in these penalties on. We're going to talk about that. With this first catch Sunday, Michael Thomas reached his 1,000-yard receiving, reached 1,000 yards this year for the second consecutive year. He finished with a team-high 9 catches for 93 yards and a touchdown. He joins Giants wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. as the only 2 players in NFL history to have 90 receptions in each of their first 2 NFL seasons. With 94 receptions on a season, Thomas is tied for the club's 3rd highest single season total of all time. Now we're gonna hit you with
He's not in the Pro Bowl, as far as I know.
He better be. I don't know what Brant put in there and the rest of these clowns and buffoons, but as far as the reality and common sense Pro Bowl, he should be in there, no doubt about it, hands down. Defensive end, another man that should be in there is defensive end Cam Jordan, who played his 110th consecutive game, putting him in a tie for 33rd in the club's record books with Tommy Morstead. You remember him. Jordan also played 94 consecutive games, giving him the longest consecutive games playing streak among NFL defensive ends. That's big. He's also tied his career high with 4 passes defensed, doing it for the first time at Pittsburgh back in 2014. That was November of 2014. 4 pass knockdowns by Cam Jordan. Big ones, too, that if the guy was able to catch it, one of them would have been for a touchdown that he bat down, and I think a few other were for conversions.
Most of them was on 3rd down.
Exactly. Man. So let's go into Sean Payton. Let's finish up with Sean Payton, DC. We'll come back with some critique of Coach Payton's press conference, and then we'll hear some other guys.
Receiver screen, and it gets tackled. Yeah, they're taking it away, but I'm being smart and playing the field position. So, but listen, it's good defense. We said that going in. These guys, it's good front. The safeties are young, but they're good football players. Can't challenge it. The whistle blown. If the whistle hadn't blown, I could, but they've blown the whistle. The play did.
Coach, you've seen a lot of good performances out of Cameron Jordan. Where would you put today's performance as one of the most dominant performances since you've been here?
No, I'm not going to say that, Herbie. I haven't seen the film, but I'd want to watch the film. Those are important. He asked me if, when we have a chance to look at the film but I think his disruption's been pretty consistent all year, and that's been very important for us.
You lost Warford to kind of scary kid.
Yeah.
How much does that affect y'all's game?
It's a good question. I'm sure it did some. When we look at the tape tomorrow and we look at the leverage and how we played, I didn't think we played very well up front or really at any position offensively.
Coach
I'm being
Payton
honest. I
criticizing
thought
his
Mike played well.
offense, saying that we didn't do anything particularly well except for Mike Thomas, of course, who was really big in the game. DC, 2 questions. You can answer them one after the other. First one is, who was Coach Payton saying speaking about the player, in parentheses, that keeps getting to the penalties? That's question 1. And the second question, of course, is, what do you think about his comment about the critique of his offense?
Well, I think he was dead on with the critique of the offense because they didn't play very well yesterday. The numbers say they did, but, if you watch that game, it was basically another sluggish, not in rhythm type game. But the player I would think he's speaking of would be Cam Jordan, man. They're always holding Cam Jordan, and they never call it. Never, ever call it. I don't understand.
A lot of people think that the issue came with Kenny Vaccaro, who they believe who had a few penalties in the game as well. I've heard commentators and other skeptics, Saints fans and writers mention Kenny Vaccaro, right, saying that he could be potential getting in Sean Payton's doghouse. He led the team with tackles. He had 8 solo tackles. He had 10 tackles altogether from us.
I must have misunderstood your question there, my man.
Right, but it's okay. You want to kind of recap it, go back into it and re-answer it? Because I think Vaccaro, to me, has been playing very well since he came back. I like to give a shout out to him. I like to give a shout out to Manti Te'o and Craig Robinson. With the Saints losing some of their linebackers, they continue to still show up and play. Both Manti Te'o and Craig Robinson had 7 total tackles, and even Craig Robinson had an interception in this game as well. Him and the rookie Marshawn Lattimore, which is his 4th interception on the year. Marshawn Lattimore.
They keep throwing at him, huh?
Right. They obviously don't believe that he is the truth. But speaking about Mike Thomas, let's look at some of the statistics for the Saints. Drew Brees, 26 of 36. And we'll get into some of the interviews. Nextly, in just a minute, we'll play Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara. We'll give you a little play a little interview just a second. But Drew Brees, 26 of 36, 285 yards, had 2 touchdowns. That interception to Leonard Williams, he threw it right into his hand. Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara didn't do usually what they were accustomed to. Ingram had 12 carries, 74 yards. He had 2 rushing touchdowns, averaged 6 yards a carry. Alvin Kamara, 12 carries, 44 yards. Mike Thomas led the day, 9 catches, 93 yards. He was targeted 11 times, caught 9 of them, 93 yards, 1 touchdown, averaged 10 yards a catch. Big time. Mark Ingram, 5 catches, 77 yards. Alvin Kamara, 6 catches, 45 yards, and a score. Those guys just consistently do it well. Brandon Coleman was the only other guy with more than 1 reception after Ingram and Kamara. He had 3 for 20, and he had 2. He was targeted 5 times, and he also had 2 fumbles. And we'll get into our stud and dud section a little later in this segment. But also, DC, what do you think about some of these statistics? Who we know about what Brandon Coleman did, but what other, like we was talking about with the Sean Payton situation, the offense didn't play particularly well. They didn't live up to their billing, but I wouldn't give them such harsh criticism, would you?
No, because I mean, ultimately they got it done. But I think the expectations that maybe a Sean Payton has on this offense, he has to give it to him like that. Especially after seeing what a team like the Rams went out and did yesterday against a hungry Seattle team playing for their playoff life.
Absolutely, took them apart.
You playing a lesser component, and if you wanna go and be in this for the long ride, once you get into the playoffs, you got to start making statement games like right now. You can't tail off and kind of fall asleep thinking you can start looking ahead for Atlanta next week, and you're playing these guys right now. So I would say that's why he said that, because the bar that he got set for them was probably a lot higher. And if Ingram would have had that touchdown and Drew Brees doesn't throw an interception, I mean, you could be easily looking at a 40-point game.
That's absolutely true. That's very true. Let's get into the interview with Kamara and Ingram as they talk about the victory over the Jets here. Here's it.
Man, it's truly a blessing, man. God is good, man. Start off my career, something that I always wanted to do. And, I just got to thank the Lord, for this opportunity, put me on this platform. And, my teammates, my coaches, anybody who's ever blocked for me, my receivers, fullback, tight ends. There's a lot of hands that go into having, 2 seasons like that. So I'm very appreciative of all my teammates, my coaches, and, God is good.
How do you look at a win like this? A little sloppy? Win is a win?
Yeah, man, we were a little sloppy, had some turnovers. Felt like, but there's room to build, We'll look at this film, we'll get better from it, and got to get ready for another big one next week.
Talk about the big screen to open the game, 54-yarder. Did you think you scored?
Yeah, I thought I scored. When they were showing it up there, I know it was close, but they called it out. So they were saying that they had to challenge it and they couldn't advance it, or 2 yards or something. But yeah, I thought I got in, but it was just a great call. They brought a safety pressure. I just bluffed it, and Mike Thomas, he made the run happen out there on the end blocking, and I think it was Larry right there downfield blocking or Max, and I just tried to make the best of it. Now, I was trying to get there by all costs, trying to get to the end zone by all costs, and just trying to win my battle so I can get to the touchdown.
You guys were stalling out there offensively. How much of a goal did Mike Thomas do on that drive?
Mike is a beast, man. He's one of the best receivers in this league by far. He catches everything, making contested catches, run after the catch. He's just an animal. He's a dog, man. And he's definitely one of the top receivers in this league. He should be accoladed like that.
On that, you had the lead last week earlier.
That's Mark Ingram.
Today went.
And Alvin Kamara chiming in on the game. About to go into our next break. When we come back, we'll play some more interviews. We'll have Mike Thomas, the Beast, as Mark Ingram chimes in. Cam Jordan will chime in as well, and we'll talk some more statistics behind the Saints and the Jets on the other side of the break. We also have the preview of the Saints and the Falcons in the final segment, so stay with us. You listen to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
Forget ESPN or Fox. Get straight sports talk from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
In today's world, children are bombarded with negativity on television, online, and at school. Our kids need to have a positive outlook on life and the world around them. I want to share with you a valuable resource you can use to bring positivity into your child's life. It's the new book, 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad, G.J. Barabino. This is a simple guide loaded with wonderful and inspirational affirmations designed to uplift young people's spirits. This positive and powerful children affirmational is chock full and loaded with wonderful inspirational sayings that will lift your child's self-image to whole new levels through the awesome power of spoken word. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad G.J. Barabino. Available on Amazon. Order a copy for yourself, your child's teachers, or anyone you know with children. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image. Order your copy today.
Thank you for listening to the Pro Media Network, who provides hours and hours of free entertainment to you and yours. If you are benefiting positively from our content, please donate to help us grow our platform by going to www.patreon.com/the Pro Media Network. That's www.patreon.com/the Pro Media Network, and support the true independent artists.
Check out the Crown They Ass World podcast with three kings covering all the news and issues that affect you and the ones you care about, only on the PRO Media Network.
Hello, New Orleans. You're listening to the Sports Coma, your new #1 podcast on everything Saints, Pelicans, and a lot more. And now, here's your host, Big Q and the guys.
Welcome back to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. We're talking about the Saints 31-19 win over the listless. Well, I ain't gonna say listless. They were scrappy, if anything, New York Jets against the Saints, despite the fact that the top quarterback.
They was fighting. Like
they did.
Behind their back, but they was fighting.
Right, but that's like if that's the point, if that's the case, then it's like giving them steroids. Because you kept giving them turnovers, you kept giving them opportunities to score. You gave them 3 opportunities to score. You
still definitely gave some steroids.
Handicap yourself. But anyway, a little few stats before we get into the interview with Mike Thomas, who is the Beast, as Mark Ingram chimed him before the break. He was giving some love to the defense. Period. Defensive end George Johnson, who the team just picked up off from the waiver wire. They picked him up. I ain't waiver wire. He was free agent. From the Detroit Lions. He played the Saints in his first game. Recorded a sack by dropping QB Price Petty for a 9-yard loss. Last week, like we said, Marshawn Lattimore, the rookie cornerback, recorded his 4th interception, finished with 5 total tackles, 3 solo. Manti Te'o had 7 tackles. Greg Robinson also picked off Petty, as we said earlier. He gets creating New Orleans' first takeaway of the game. He finished with 7 tackles in the game. Safety Vaccaro led the team with 10 tackles. Will Lutz produced the first points with a 23-yard field goal. He also drilled 4 point-after touchdowns attempts, PATs, and he had 1 touchback on the kickoff. Punter Morstead punted 4 times. We got to give the punter some love too, because Morstead is so consistent. He's the Drew Brees of punters, no doubt about it. Punted 4 times for 187 yards. Almost a 47-yard average. 1 punt landing inside the 20.
Pretty impressive.
That is good, and he, it's his 140th career game. He moved in the sole possession of 18th place on the club's all-time games list played, past defensive end, the late Will Smith. So that is a huge accomplishment for Thomas Morstead, who I deem probably the best. He's obviously the best punter in Saints history, no doubt about it. But could when he's all said and done, Thomas Morstead more likely will be
a Hall of Famer.
He will be a Hall of Famer and probably one of the best, if not the best, punter in NFL history. And he was a Saint. So that's a big deal right there.
He comes game after game, man, 187 yards on 4 points. That is very impressive.
Impressive. But we don't really get a punter no love, but we're giving him love, though.
That's impressive.
That's impressive. And this guy's a punter. He
definitely was a key to us winning that game.
Yes. He pins your back. He'll go down there and make tackles. He's not scared to hit nobody. I mean, Morstead is the ultimate football player. He just happens to be a punter. Got all kind of heart. He helps out Will Lutz, goes through his little regiment and whatnot, and his training going through it now. So it's a lot of great things that Thomas Morstead does.
Give him a little love too, man. I don't remember the last time Will Lutz has missed a kick. Thinking about it, I might be overlooking something. Maybe I deemed it not a big deal, but he's been playing pretty good this season, man. As opposed to when we first got him. To me, he's a top 10 kicker.
I think he missed one in that Atlanta game. If I missed, I think he did miss one in that Atlanta game.
What was it like?
I don't remember. I have to go back. I know that he did miss a crucial one. It had to
be a crazy long field.
We're gonna look it up during the break, but let's listen to Mike Thomas talk about the game. Here's Mike Thomas, 9 catches on the day. He penetrated 1,000 yards. Look like the guys are gonna go to Cam Jordan. So here's Cam Jordan talk about the game. No game is perfect, but we are chasing perfection.
I think that no game is going to be, the perfect game. We are chasing perfection. We talk about the ability to, George Johnson got his first sack of our team. You hope you come out with more sacks than that. We talk about Matt Forte doing a cutback and creating what should have been a TFL into a positive play. That's something that we got to review. When you talk about, Bryce Petty escaping the pocket. Again, we knew that he was a decent athlete, and that's something that we should have been on the radar, and we've got to do a better job of that. Especially, that's everything that I focus on is D-line. We talk about putting pressure on him. He's a young guy, and surprisingly enough, he didn't get rattled. I mean, we put pressure on him early and often. And that's kudos to the Jets for coaching him, or kudos to Bryce for, being able to stay under control. Now, when we talk about our ability to become a better defense, we'll see. You'll see next week.
Hard to underscore, though, the batted down passes and what.
It happened, T.Y. Tell him, T.Y. Tell him, T.Y. Yeah. Triple-double? Yeah, tell him, T.Y.
Triple-double. Yeah, you got double-digit pass deflections. Double-digit TFLs, double-digit sacks.
B-boy. Oh, I don't know about that one. Yeah.
But, I mean, the impact of those are amazing to an offense when you bat the ball down as many times as you do.
Yeah, you'd hope that, the quarterback starts pump faking. That doesn't happen. He just didn't care to pump fake. At the end of the day, we got the win, and, I'd love to break down this film and just get better for this next week.
Did you think you were going to be in
Cam Jordan, man? As Tyler Davidson, DC's little brother, was giving them love, talk about the pass defenses. Cam smartly said, I was figuring why he didn't just start pump faking to kind of throw us all. But 4 passes deflected, and one of them was a touchdown pass that to a guy who was wide open because he beat the brakes off for Ken Crawley and had a streak play which he could have had a easy touchdown. But Cam Jordan, a Pro Bowl player, and this year, DC, and you can comment on what Cam said. And I just see Cam as he is really taking on the role of the leader, of the defense. And I mean, like any other year, it's like Cam has arrived. It's now making sense. I've always had the mojo. I've always had the strength. Now I see the game at an elite level. And now I have arrived. Now I am the force. If I cannot sack the quarterback, which he was held a bunch of times in his game, as he always is, he don't complain about it, DeMarcus. And he was able still to make an impact on the game. Cam couldn't get to the quarterback. Cam knocked down 4 balls. 2 of them were crucial third down players, and one of them was a knockdown of a touchdown. DC, what's your comment on this?
Lights out, man. everything he said is dead on, and it goes in line with what I've been seeing on the field. Cam Jordan and took it to another level this year. He finally he's gonna have those double-digit sack numbers that he's trying to get, along with improved interior play in the run game, which is saying a lot because he's always been a great run defender. And now to add along with batting the balls down, and the fact that he's pretty much one of the leaders of the whole team. I'm not just gonna say the defensive unit. I think he's a catalyst for motivation for everybody. Because a guy like that's never missed a game, and you know what you're going to get when he shows up on Sunday, every Sunday, maximum effort, no plays off, don't even come out the game. Like, I mean, who doesn't want to play with a guy like that?
Cam is excellent, man. He's excellent. Big ups to Cam. We've been big up in Cam all damn season long. He said, I just want to get better. For this Atlanta Falcon game, they took care of business, didn't look past the Jets, as we warned the prior podcast. They didn't look past the Jets. They stayed focused. I'm telling you, the Saints have that twinkling in their eye that they had when they won the Super Bowl. I don't want to get premature here, but we're starting to get closer and closer to the playoffs. So you're starting to see those traits come out of the winning, the little things that happen. But, DC, let's look into the studs and duds. Let's do the studs and duds, then we'll break into Mike Thomas's interview, listen to what he got to say. Who's your stud and dud for the game, quickly?
My stud's gonna be Cam. I think a lot of plays that he made, he didn't have any sacks, but he had at least 3 out of those 4 bat downs that were at very, very critical moments in the game.
Right.
And if he didn't make that play, we could be sitting here talking about things differently. Ultimately, I think the Saints would have still found a way to win, but you never know. And Cam stopped single-handedly at least 3 of their possessions, I believe, on 3rd down.
Right.
With a batted pass. One, I think, was to prevent a touchdown. So he's my stud, man.
Okay.
And my dud for the game, let's see. I threw Cam out there. I know who you're going to take, so I got to take the dud. You already put him out there, so I'm giving you some points for acknowledging. But Brandon Coleman, man, it's been so long since he's been on our dud report that I'm not going to go too hard on him.
Yeah.
Because he really worked his way up. But, oh, my God, dude, can you please ball up the 2016 Brandon Coleman and burn him and destroy him forever? Because somehow he kind of showed his face
he peaked
yesterday.
He peaked yesterday, no doubt
go
about
back
it.
to who you been this year, bruh.
3 catches, 20 yards, 6.7 yards a catch. He had 2 crucial fumbles that were recovered by the Jets that kept them alive in the game. And
I'll tell you again, be back.
Thank you, Ted. And Willie, let's give you Willie Snead did play some. He had a magnificent 23-yard grab that kept the Saints alive in the drive. So Willie's kind of working his way back into the fray as well. My studs and duds, of course, DC already named the dud, Brandon Coleman. We won't go over that. He pretty much covered it. And my stud is going to go to Michael Thomas. 9 catches, 93 yards, 10.3 average, 1 touchdown at a 20-yard long. He was targeted 11 times, caught 9 of them, breached 1,000 yards on the year. Terrific. Big ups to Mike Thomas for another 1,000-yard season. Puts him in rarefied air with the great Odell Beckham Jr. And also, if I can do a double stud, which we can't, and if DC would have chose Michael Thomas, I would have went Mark Ingram, who breached a 1,000-yard season for his 2nd consecutive year. So big up to both Saints players. Let's go forward to the Mike Thomas interview, and then when we come back out, we'll have DC's injury report. Here's Mike Thomas.
We needed it. We knew we were up against. We had just lost last week on Thursday, and we had 10 days to get ready for this game, and it was just like we knew we just had to win this game, find a way to win this game, and that's what we did.
In a sense, did you put it on yourself to pull the offense out of a rough few possessions?
In the most unselfish way, yeah. But I feel like a lot of guys did their job and did a lot of great things on film. It wasn't just that moment, but when that moment came, I was consistent. I did my job. I was excited to see that. That's Willie Snead. He has great hands. He's one of those guys that's real good in crunch time moments, and I was just happy to see that and starting to build something and just build off that and come back next week and have more.
Hi.
Yes, sir. Big no limit fan. He has to be.
Mike
That'd be good to
Thomas,
have
y'all. And, I mean,
Oh, yeah,
terrific pro. A solid pick. And the key, a major young piece, and what could be a Super Bowl year for the Saints. We'll talk about some more Saints news on the other side of the break. DC will give you the injury report that you need to hear. We'll also preview the Saints and Falcons, getting ready early. We'll preview it first on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. Stay with us.
I'm a Saints and Pelicans fan, so the only podcast I can get my fix is the Sports Coma with Big Q. The guy's intense, funny, and they always keep it real.
Check out the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
Clear, clean, great-tasting filtered water. We're all thirsty for it. But in the U.S. alone, an estimated 2.5 million plastic bottles are added to the environment each year in search of the perfect drink of water. There has to be a better solution, and there is. Crystal Quest, a leader in the manufacturing of water filtration technology, has been providing clean, drinkable water for 20 years. Crystal Quest has been recognized by such leaders as Consumers Digest, Dr. Oz, and Colin Ingram's The Water Drinking Book, offering our customers the cleanest and most environmental-friendly drinking water at a rating of high purity. With Crystal Quest's water filtration technology, you can rest assured that your water will be crystal clear. Contact our network of authorized distributors and join our thousands of satisfied customers.
Just log into theposhlifestyle.com. Once again, that is theposhlifestyle.com.
Get all the latest news and updates from your New Orleans Pelicans at the Pelicans Argue, the new and official Pelicans Daily Journal, covering everything Pelicans.
Attention, everyone.
Get breakdown on games, free agent signings and potential moves, unbiased opinions and straight up facts with statistical analysis from G Balance. Go to www.thesportsdaily.com/Pelicans-I-View.
Follow the Sports Coma on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. Best funny sports podcast in the country.
Welcome back to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. Still talking Saints talk. About to close it up, but the Saints recap as they knock off the Jets 31-19. And man, get another double-digit win season for New Orleans, and this is what it's supposed to be, the right mix. Mike Thomas chimed in before the break. Alvin Kamara, Mike Thomas, Drew Brees, the resurgence of Mark Ingram, consistently building on last year, in the defense led by the no-stop monster Cam Jordan, Marshawn Lattimore, Marcus Williams, and a host of characters that go on and go on and go on. The Saints looking really good defensively as their statistics climb, as they're looking at potentially a Super Bowl run. Very interesting. The Saints
can go to the Super Bowl.
once again, 266 yards a game passing wise. That's good for fourth in the NFL. The Saints, a lot of people might not recognize this, but the Saints are fifth in the NFL in rushing yards per game. 135 yards a game for New Orleans. So they're fourth in the NFL in passing, fifth in the NFL in rushing the ball, and they average 28.5 points a game. That's good for third in the NFL. Now we take a look at the points against. The Saints allow 20 points a game. That's good for 10th in the NFL. Wow. Those are just four crucial stats offensively and defensively that speak a lot about what the Saints, both the runner and the top rusher, got 1,000 yards this week. Michael Thomas with 1,085, 94 catches. He had 5 receiving touchdowns. Mark Ingram offered 204 carries. He has 1,000 1,045 yards with 11 rushing touchdowns. And, of course, the ever-young Drew Brees, 3,854 yards with 21 touchdowns, a QB rating of 60.2. Big ups to all those guys and the Saints for really stepping it up in a powerful matchup that's going to come down against this Atlanta game. We'll preview it in a second. But first, let's tell everybody out there in the Sports Coma land and across the world about the fact that you need to sign up, subscribe, if you please, to the Facebook, Twitter, or either Instagram pages for the Sports Coma. Facebook, Twitter, what have you. On those, we constantly update with stories, all the latest Saints news, all the latest Pelican news, all the latest LSU news. You don't have to go and search none of that stuff. Just get one site and subscribe. It's called the Sports Coma, Facebook, also or the Twitter pages, and you'll get all of that fantastic Saints news in one venue. There, find it, join up, subscribe, or like our Facebook and Twitter and Instagram families, and also YouTube as well, as we're now thriving on YouTube as well. Now, going into a DC, let's have your injury report. We lost a few guys in this game, went down. We had Larry Warford went down. He had a concussion. He got that concussion trying to tackle Big Leonard Williams, who picked off Drew Brees. Update us on some of the Saints stats currently, sir.
Well, yeah, you just stated one of them, which would be Larry. And also, Michael Hanui also had a concussion. Who-man. Also had a concussion. You know, he left in the first half. So that was the two players that went down that game. Just two guys. So we came out pretty much unscathed for the most part. And they're both concussions. So hopefully they'll be ready to suit up on Sunday. And we had Trey Hendrickson with his ankle. He set out. You had Klein, who set out with a groin. I think he was questionable. And Ted Ginn, who set out with a rib, who was questionable. And Andrews Pete, who was actually active, but we didn't play him. So three of those players, I'm pretty sure, probably should be able to suit up against Atlanta. One, which would be Trey Hendrickson, I'm not sure. The extent of his injury could be a little more serious, or he could be one more week away. But those other guys, I think, probably could have played this Sunday, but they just, set them out cautionary and play for this game that's really going to matter and basically be like a playoff game coming up Sunday.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a big playoff game, and for the division, no doubt, Saints could really stick a fork through Atlanta in more ways than one and really tilt the things in their favor here with this win over Atlanta. Now,
well, like you told me on the break,
if
Tampa Bay beats Atlanta tonight, then the Saints will have a chance to basically end Atlanta's season.
That's right. If that's another thing people are not looking at too. Tampa Bay is a very scrappy team. Atlanta does play Monday night, and if Tampa Bay able to do some of the work for the Saints and defeat Atlanta tonight, they'll drop 8-6, and then the Saints could really put the fork through them. Then Carolina, of course, who is really peaking right now, have a chance to really demolish them as well. So it can really kind of hurt Atlanta in a major way. I don't expect them to lose this game to Tampa, but it's going to be a short week, and it works for us. They can, but I don't expect them to. But this is a short week for the Falcons. They play Monday night, then they got to come back and play the Saints on Saturday at 12. So this is a short week for Atlanta to put it together. So it's going to work for the Saints, the extra day of practice.
Back for the short week that we had playing in the evening. They got a 3-hour head start on us. The last time we played them, they played a noon game, and we played a 3:25 game. So
the football games,
and we had to travel.
So the football gods smile on us this day. Magnificent.
Yeah, they made it even.
Let's look at this preview. Let's get right into the meat and potatoes of this matchup for the second time around. Of course, we know that the Falcons were able to beat the Saints in the Mercedes-Benz Dome Stadium, whatever, in Atlanta, and 20-17. In the game, we lost 5 players. Alvin Kamara got in concussion in the first drive. He'll be healthy, and they'll get a healthy dose of him in this matchup. Matt Ryan's coming into this game currently sitting with 3,278 yards, 17 touchdowns, 11 interceptions versus what I told you earlier about Devontae Freeman as 152 carries for 680 yards. Really, if he wasn't injured those last a couple of games, he would be definitely sitting at 1,000 yards as well. Julio Jones is 73 catches. This is just outstanding. This just tells you how great Mike Thomas, how great of a year he's having. Julio Jones, who's a bona fide star, 73 receptions versus Mike Thomas's 94 receptions, 1,161 total yards and 3 touchdowns versus Mike. Mike got him beat receptions. He doesn't have him beat in yards just by a few, but he has him beat touchdowns as Julio has 3 versus 5. They're looking at the injury reports. Tevin Coleman.
Nobody talking about him.
No, nobody. They will soon, though. Tevin Coleman is out as according, still in that concussion protocol. I don't think he might play. I think he might be out this game, but they're saving him for the Saints. Looking at the stats.
Don't play, man. He's been out since that game Thursday night. So unless his concussion was just, that's severe, but I think he's probably gonna play. They holding him for this game.
The Saints at the points per game, Atlanta 22.5 points a game versus the Saints 28.5 points a game. They allow 20 points a game, same as the Saints. They both allow the same amount. Now we had this discussion on the previous podcast when we talked about Atlanta, how the defense statistically mirrored each other, looked very similar. Saints offense averaged 275 a game. Atlanta 256 a game. Atlanta rushes 117 a game. Saints 135 a game. Defense points allowed. Atlanta allowed 339.5 points a game. Saints 346 a game. And the offense.
You mean yards? You said points, my man.
No, that's yards.
That's a lot of points.
That's yards a game. Yards a game. Okay, now yards allowed secondary wise through the air for the Atlanta defense, 231 yards a game. Saints 231 through the air. Rushing yards 108 a game. Atlanta allow 115 for the Saints. Of course, we know the Falcons did beat the Saints. They're playing for the first time tonight against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Monday night. That is the long win. If they get that tonight, it might be 2. I'm expecting them to have a 2-game winning streak coming into New Orleans. Now, with all that being said, DC, we got about 4 or 5 minutes before the show ends. Who wins this game with Atlanta and why?
The Saints win this game because they figure out how to do what every non-cool kid was trying to figure out how to do in school, and that's basically they keep up with the Joneses. They figure out a way to neutralize Julio or at least minimize his impact the way we did the first game. He had 90-something yards receiving, but he didn't have a whole bunch of first downs, and he didn't get in the end zone. Deion Jones is the other Jones after looking at last game, how he destroyed us. He took out our phenom rookie, and he caught a pick at the end of the game, basically in the game. So you definitely got to watch him. They figure out how to neutralize these two players while also limiting Matt Ryan. I don't think he'll have as bad a game as he had last time, but we find a way to minimize his impact as well. And the Saints go on to win this game in typical Saints Falcons fashion, 31-27.
31-27 is going to be a powerhouse of a game according to DC. I think it'll be a spectacular game as well, as the Saints will have their weapons with Alvin Kamara back, and of course they get up to play the Falcons. And this is for all the marbles. I wouldn't have it any other way. I really wouldn't. This is a big game for the Saints. 10-4, they're on top of the NFC South. Carolina is 10-4 as well. Atlanta is 8-5. They play tonight against Tampa. I expect them to win that game as well. We could be surprised. I would be happily surprised if Tampa can be able to surprise Atlanta in that matchup, but we'll see. But I will have to also say that I think New Orleans will get revenge from that win, that loss against Atlanta 2 weeks ago, thanks to the officials, in part thanks to injuries all over the place. Won't happen this time. Officials, everybody have their eye on this game. We won't see the same type of officiating we seen in Atlanta. We will not see the same type of injuries we seen in Atlanta with arrested staff. The Saints will be prepared, and they know what's on the line. They know what's on the line. All of our players, the main parts are back and healthy. I expect the Saints to get the win as well. 28-24 over the Falcons. That's my call. And that'll do it for tonight. That'll do it to our show tonight.
I can keep my Saints card. I'm gonna be a temporary Buccaneers fan for tonight.
That's perfect. I don't think there'll be a Saints fan in the world that'll be mad at you.
I ain't a trader, yo. I'm not a trader.
Well, I'll do it for the show tonight. For me and DC, we'd like to say thank you. To keep supporting us, you can go to if you enjoy our show, you can feel free to go to our Patreon page, patreon.com/the PRO Media Network, and donate or share our show. Help us out. Or support our sponsor.
Keep on going.
That's right. That www.theposhlifestyle.com. Go there and check them out.
With a Y, y'all. With a Y.
With a Y. So thank you. Have a good night from Big Q and the guys at Sports Coma. Peace.
Peace.
You're listening to the PRO Media Network. The next level in entertainment. You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
At the Posh Lifestyle, I go there for all my health needs. They offer great deals on organics, water filters, healing magnetics, healing crystals, clothing, books, DVDs, vitamins, and a lot more. They even have free shipping when you spend over $100 on most products. With secure online ordering, fast service, and great products, I save some money, and I'm improving my health doing it. It's a win-win. So do what I did. Go to shop.theposhlifestyle.com. That's shop.theposhlifestyle.com. That's shop.theposhlifestyle.com. So upgrade your lifestyle with The Posh Lifestyle and love what you do.